The Object 84 is a Russian Tier 9 light tank. It boasts some very good maneuverability, a power-to-weight ratio of 24.4, and a top speed of 65 kilometers per hour, and as well a very nice gun with some pretty decent penetration values, 220 on the standard and 270 on the heat, with also 2,800 damage per minute. Unlike the T100LT, this Tier 9 vehicle actually carries gun depression 8 degrees to be exact over the front, although only 5 over the sides. So it's a very situational tank, but overall it's a fantastic vehicle. And in today's video, I'll be doing a full down review on the Object 84, the Russian light tank that's kind of a medium at the same time. Update 8.7 for World of Tanks Blitz introduced the Russian Tech Tree light tanks. At Tier 10, we have the T100LT, and at Tier 9, we have the Object 84, which is the tank we're going to be reviewing in today's video. This is not going to be my normal quick type of review. This is going to be a full down review, letting you know everything you're going to have to know about this vehicle, whether you want to fight these things on the battlefield and know how to take it out, or at the same time, how to play this vehicle yourself if you are struggling in it. So we're going to be going over these statistics. We're going to go over the armor profile, and then we're going to get into two pretty good replays. So let's start off with the statistics. And with the gun, it's got a very good aiming time and also pretty impressive dispersion at .322. The gun on this vehicle is absolutely fantastic, judging that this is a Tier 9 vehicle, not a Tier 10. It also carries 2,800 damage per minute, which actually puts it on par with some of the highest damage per minute medium/light tanks in Tier 9. Now, personally, I do run calibrated shells because I'd rather gain that extra 27 millimeters of heat penetration, but obviously that's down to personal preference. If you like to have that bit more of DPM, that is all up to you. When we go to average penetration, you'll notice it's 230 on the standard and 297 on the heat. I'll be honest, the heat penetration, even with calibrated shells, is not amazing. You cannot penetrate E100 turrets, even if you're loading heat. It's a pain. Same for Jagdpanzer E100 superstructures. So I don't think the gun is bad, but it definitely has its downsides, and penetration, even against some Tier 8 heavies like Object 252s, 53 TPs haul down, you're not going to be able to penetrate through them, so you will have to use your mobility to actually play this vehicle like a light and get behind your opponents to penetrate them. When we go to average damage per shot, it's the same as the T100LT at 310. So nothing crazy, but because of that, you have a fairly quick reload of 7.15 seconds. Now, while it says 5 degrees of gun depression, that is only 5 degrees over the sides. If you're actually using the gun depression over the front, you are sitting at 8 degrees, and I can show you that here on Armor Inspector really quick. You'll notice that over the front, you have a solid 8 degrees, but as soon as you get over to the side of the vehicle, it goes back to 5 degrees of gun depression. If we go to the rear of the tank, it actually cuts back down to 8 degrees again. So it's 8 over the back and 8 over the front. It's just the sides, you really don't want to be shooting over them unless you're kind of forced to. But thankfully, when you have the gun depression over the front, it's not that much of a worry. Just angle your vehicle towards your enemy, and you've got plenty of gun depression to work any ridge lines for days. So let's go back to the statistics. When we go over to the mobility, the tank is pretty quick. It goes 65 kilometers per hour forward and 25 in reverse, although it doesn't actually carry the most impressive power-to-weight ratio. When we compare the power-to-weight ratio of the Object 84 to the T100LT, this vehicle sits at a 32.3, and the Object 84 at 24.4. That is 8 less. That is quite a bit. So you'll definitely notice in the replays you're going to see, the tank is not the fastest on acceleration. It is definitely more like a medium tank than a light tank, and that also comes true when we take a look at the armor right now. The best way to describe the armor profile of the Object 84 is good for a light tank, but bad for a medium. The turret armor is very troll, but very easy to penetrate. You'll notice it's only about 138 millimeters thick to 124 on most of the surfaces, and I'll be honest, every time I've poked hull down in this vehicle, I've been penned. A couple shots every now and then I'll be, getting a troll bounce, but for the most part, you really don't bounce on the turret. 120 millimeters, yeah, that's not bouncing anything. When we take a look at the upper plate, it's about 170, and that's also the same for the lower plate. So it's not bad on the armor, it's just not good. Any Tier 8, any Tier 9, or Tier 10 is just going to butter right through your upper plate armor. But the nice thing is that you can't penetrate it with high explosive. Even when fully hauled down, the upper plate's still only about 220, and even angling it, it's still only about 230. So it really doesn't have strong armor. This vehicle is not going to be going out there and bouncing shells easily. There are a couple troll spots, though. The upper upper plate, which you can see here, is angled past a 70-degree angle. And what that means is that you can actually auto-ricochet any shell off of the upper plate. And as well, you can auto-ricochet shells on the side because it does have some pretty decent spaced armor, actually. So I don't think this vehicle is bad on the armor, especially if you get some troll spots when people are aiming at either your turret or your side, but it's not great at the same time. Side scraping, you can side scrape. You can get some troll bounces because the bottom part of your vehicle is angled, as you can see, but it's more luck than getting good bounces, because if you just aim right at the center bar here, and this is what I would suggest to do when aiming at an Object 84 angling like this, is just shoot at the center track lining and you'll pen every single time. So the Object, it's a weird tank on the armor, and I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's definitely not good. It plays like a light tank. When I poke this vehicle, even hull down, it doesn't bounce shells. I mean, this is what it looks like for enemy opponents when you poke hull down. So everything is a penetration. Just like the new spotting mechanic that was introduced for the T100 LT, the Object 84 also carries this new spotting mechanic. So if you shoot an enemy vehicle that is detected, they will be spotted for double the normal amount of time. Normally you are spotted for 10 seconds and then you go undetected. Well, this vehicle will spot you for 20 seconds and you'll get a different type of light bulb. So yeah, that's one really unique thing about this tank. Is it good? Oh, it's insane. And I'll be telling you more about that in the replays. Speaking of replays, we find ourselves in the first battle on Falls Creek. Now, Falls Creek is very influential for certain tanks. Mediums, definitely. Heavy side, you're pretty good. You know, if you're in a very strong heavy, let's say like in tier 10, you're in a 60 TP, or let's say an IS4, you can very easily hold the heavy side position on Falls Creek, but you really rely on that your mediums are able to flank and shoot the enemy either on the side or come all the way up behind them. Because if your mediums lose, then you're the one that gets flanked on Falls Creek, and it's not a fun situation at that point. It's like dead rail when your mediums fall apart and you start getting shot up the rear and you can't push on their heavies. That's basically the end of your battle. Thankfully, this battle, I am a tier 9 light tank, and judging that only one vehicle actually pushed over towards the medium side, they have a Centurion 7-1, you'll notice on their lineup, but I don't even know where the guy went. He must have gone towards heavy side. Either way, we've just gotten 2 shells into the 49. With that, we've taken off half of his health, and that's pretty solid. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm just making sure that that 49 isn't trying to, like, bait me into the Centurion. I don't want to lose health. That's one thing that's very important in your light tanks and your medium tanks, is saving and conserving your hit points. You don't have a lot of them, and if you lose them, you're never going to get them back. That goes for every vehicle, but at least heavies you can, you know, trade them a bit. Yeah, my gun kind of lagged there, you notice. I don't know why, but when I shot, it was really laggy. I had must have like 300 ping, and that shell just completely yeeted past the 49. But the funny part is that 49 is still spotted running away. The spotting mechanic of this vehicle in that 20 seconds is absolutely busted. The fact that I actually had that shot on the 49, and if we weren't lagging, it probably would have hit him and killed him, is kind of busted. I'm not gonna lie. You know, you basically have infinite spotting range, but oh well, the 49 died anyway, so it's not like it's too big of an issue. Now we've got the Emil, we got the T95, all the tier 9s are pushing over towards our heavies. They're pushing. So what I'm doing right now is I'm purposely isolating this Waffenträger. Even though the guy shoots me right through my track wheel, that's not too much of a worry. I'll trade those hit points to clear an incredibly strong and deadly tier 9 tank destroyer. So we shoot an HE just to see if he's running Spall. He's not, but doesn't really matter too much anyway, as the second shell would have cleared him with an AP or an HE. So there you go. We've cleared the enemy tank destroyer, which is a very deadly one at that, but they still have a Foch, and they also have a T95. And the 95 is actually quite quick now, going in at 20 kilometers per hour. I mean, it's definitely not the fastest of tank destroyers, but it can hit quite hard with that 600 damage per shot. So I'm pushing up, and here we go. Let's start getting some shells into the T95. Come on. Yes, there you go. There's one nice shell into the rear of his vehicle, but oh boy, there's a bit of a problem. The Emil 2 backs up, and in this situation, I can't really drive in front of the T95. Well, I'm trying to. You'll notice I'm trying to, but I can't really drive in front of his gun, so I'm just being careful. Go, 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 go. Please, please. Oh, he didn't have another shell. Okay, we're fine, we're fine. He did not have another shell, and what that means is we actually get to live. Yeah, that was risky. That was some really risky business there. I can't really say we made a misplay because I didn't see him until we pushed behind that 95, so that sucks. But either way, we're still alive, which is all that matters. We're going to get a tracking shell into that AMX M4, and thankfully, he does his average damage and doesn't clear us. Now we're going to shoot at him, and I roll for 329. Doesn't that work out great, right? So the AMX M4 is taken out. Now we got the Foch in the front. We're at 3,700 damage. Unfortunately, that turret was in the way. I didn't even realize. I thought that was just like an imperfection on the terrain, but no, it was literally just a dead tank's turret. But good news here is that if this Foch wants to drive over the hill, well, we're going to shoot him in the lower plate. Now I'm going to put on my adrenaline, and let's finish off this enemy Foch. Hello, good sir. There you go. We're at 4,300 damage in this game. Nothing crazy, but it definitely showcased where the mobility, the good DPM, and pretty good accuracy on this vehicle works all into play. I really liked the Object 84. I started off not thinking too much of it, and I'll be honest, I still don't think it's the best of Tier 9 vehicles. The Vickers CR is still a stronger tank, and after the new Tier 9 buffs, there's vehicles like the M5Yo that are strong. There are a lot of vehicles that are very, very strong in Tier 9, and I don't think that this is the best contender. But the gun is great, the mobility is great, and it's got some very good accuracy, so I have no complaints when it comes to this vehicle. The second battle, we find ourselves on Himmelsdorf. I like Himmelsdorf, but not always in my light tanks. Light tanks are great for using their mobility and being able to flank opponents. And sure, you can flank heavies in Himmelsdorf. The issue is mediums, and the enemy team has quite a bit of them. They have a Standard B, a T92E1, and a T54 lightweight. That's a lot of mobile tanks. I gotta be quite cautious. Thankfully, that T92E1 is running away, so that gives me a little bit of confidence that I can get a shell out, and here we go. Boom! Beautiful shell into the rear of his vehicle. That is 648 hit points we've taken off of that T92, and he is spotted for 20 seconds, so I know where that guy's going for the next 20 seconds. So that was pretty sad there. I don't know what to say about that. Just really, really lame shell, but there you go. Nice shot into the Emil. T92E1 is still spotted, which is just so stupid from the spotting mechanics this vehicle has. There you go. So the 20 seconds has just worn off, and I know that the 92 has turned around and he's coming back for me, so that gives me the opportunity to back up. The spotting mechanic on this vehicle, I love. It's great. It actually lets you feel like a proper light tank, that you can know where the enemy team is going and pre-plan your positions and give your enemies, or at least your team, spots. So there you go. We've now spotted that Standard B for 20 seconds. Anybody can get an easy shell into him, and we're just kind of chilling here. I'm trying to think of what I want to do. Well, I don't want to poke that Tiger 8.8. Very, very deadly vehicle. So instead, I'm just going to shoot this Emil 2 once. We're going to shoot him twice. Maybe he's going to start backing up. Maybe he's learned his lesson. Yeah, looks like he has. That's, what, 900 hit points we've taken off in total from that Emil 2 now. And now we're going to start pushing up. I'm personally not detected from any of this, so we're driving up. We still got a lot of our hit points left, so wouldn't hurt to bleed any. We got a nice shot available on this Tiger, and thank you very much for 356 hit points. Looks like this guy is driving towards me. I did notice I have a T92 off to the side. I'm going to go for a tracking shot into the Tiger. He doesn't have enough gun arc to shoot me, so that's nice. And we're going to go for another shell. Now, the thing about the Tiger is it does have pretty insane DPM, so yeah, that vehicle was able to get a shell into me, but thankfully I distracted him long enough that the T92 was able to get behind. Then we get a nice shell into the T92 himself. This T92E1 on our team is going to get a nice shot in. I mean, you can very easily see where this goes well. That, I don't even know what to say about that. T92s just have some ridiculously sloped armor, and because of that, we ricocheted right off of his flat upper plate. So I don't know what to say about that, but we're already at 4,000 damage. I mean, this showcases just how quickly you can pick up damage in this Russian Tier 9. It really is great, especially against Tier 9s. You feel like the king of the hill, because this is the only Tier 9 that can actually do that spawning mechanic. At Tier 10, it's going to be fairly easy to now see T100 LTs. I think over the next weeks to come, as people are grinding down the line, you're going to see a lot more T100 LTs, even more than probably medium tanks, but that's just going to be the new meta of Blitz, is now the light tanks plus the heavies. I'm actually not going to complain. I do like the fact that now heavies are going to be a little bit less powerful, and it's not really going to affect heavies, because heavies themselves don't really need to be detected or undetected to do their role on the battlefield. It's more this is going to stop hull down camping, because you're going to be spotted for double the time. So that's good. But either way, 5,163 damage in a pretty solid battle. I think that the Object 84 is a great all-around vehicle. It can play like a medium, it has a gun like a medium, but it also has the mobility of a light tank and that new spotting mechanic that really helps it. I think it's a great vehicle all around. I don't think it's necessarily overpowered, and I think it's actually a pretty well-balanced tank. These in-depth reviews take a lot more time and effort, plus editing on the channel. So hopefully you enjoy this type of content, and if you'd like to see more like this in the future, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Really trying to make my channel a lot more high-quality content, so if you like this, make sure to click that subscribe button, and let me know if you enjoy this type of content in the comments down below. But other than that, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye!